Okay, we'll get through as much of this as we can before you have to leave. You'll enjoy today. It's a fun day for you. Remember, you can come back right after you return. I have office hours right after you come back, so 12:15 or 12:30. So a little while because I have a 7th period class, but you can come back then if you wish. All right, here we go. Number 1, find all of the asymptotes. So what kind of asymptotes do we have? We have horizontal and we have vertical. Who remembers anything about how to find either one? We find them differently. Kyle?
You box up the X's.
So this is a tricky one because when I go to box up the X's, see how they don't match? So when they don't match, I have to fill in with a 0 to make them match. I need the biggest powers to match. That's x squared, right? I don't have one on the top, so I say, okay, it's a 0. So now my horizontal asymptote is y equals 0 over 1, which is 0. When the biggest power is on the bottom, the asymptote's always going to be 0. The horizontal asymptote's always going to be 0. All right, what about the verticals? Where do they come from? They come from the denominator. So I'm going to factor my denominator. Plus 5 plus 1. So I actually have 2 vertical asymptotes. They are at -5 and -1 because there's 2 things in the denominator, and that's where vertical asymptotes come from. All right? Remember, I'm jogging your memory so you go back and study what you need to study. What's on the exam? What's on this paper? That question's on the exam, I promise you. The different equation. That remember, if it's on this, it's on the exam. All right, number 2. Might be in a different order for sure. Might be in a different order. But these are all there. How do we find the remainder? Yeah, one option is just to divide. Now again, this is kind of tricky. I'm going to put 2 in the box. Right? X minus 2. I put 2 in the box. But pay attention. I have 2x to the 5th. No x to the 4th, -3x cubed, 1x squared, 1x, and 1. Everybody catch that 0 in there? And then I divide. So I bring my 2 straight down. 2 times 2 is 4. Add 2 times 4 is 8. Add 2 times 5 is 10. Add, oh, this is getting big, 22, 23, 46. Did you get 47? As your remainder. If this problem involved factors, we would say, oh, we're not a factor, because if something's a factor, that turns out to be 0. We just wanted the remainder. The remainder is 47. All right. Find the y-intercept. Now, you guys, it doesn't matter what the equation is. We got a couple of different equations here. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want the y-intercept, what do? No matter what, every y-intercept problem, what do? Plug in 0 for x. Because if you are a y-intercept, doesn't that mean you're 0 comma something? So you're going to let x be 0. So I'm going to put a 0 right here. What is 0.37 to the 0th power? What is anything to the 0th power? 1. So this is just 1. This right here is 1. 80 over 1 plus 4 is 80 over 5. What's my y-intercept? 16. You'll have a baby calculator, just like you will tomorrow, or on your chapter 3 test. For the no calculator part of the exam, you'll have a baby calculator. So the y-intercept is 16. All right, then we have this equation. How do we find a y-intercept? Put 0 in for x. It doesn't matter what the equation looks like. So I'm going to put a 0 here and a 0 here. That's how I find a y-intercept. I let x be 0. So 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Squared is 1. And then 0 plus 3 is 3. So what is my y-intercept? Those are times each other. So my y-intercept is 3. Okay? That's all there is to it. One more time. How do we find the y-intercept? Plug in 0 for x. Okay, so I'm still missing Crystal. All right, next problem, solve. Now notice, there are no directions here, it just says solve. So you can do this in any way that makes sense to you. All right? But I think no matter what, you're gonna start by doing what? What is just logically the first step? Add the 3, sure. What do you remember about solving absolute value? There's a couple different ways we could go. Doesn't matter. Go the way that you can remember. So what do you remember about solving this? Ay, 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 ay. You can make this into 2 equations. Guys, first year algebra. That's how you learned it in first year algebra and second year algebra. So it's absolute value, it can be a positive, it can be a negative, either way, it's gonna work out to be 9. So the answer is, for this one, 13 halves. And for this one, negative 5 halves. So we just set up 2 separate equations, that's probably the easiest way for you to do that, and solve each equation. You're going to get 2 different answers when you do an absolute value. They tell me that at least looks familiar? Yeah. Okay, that's what we're doing, is jogging your memory. Okay, number 5. Number 5 may look a little more complicated, but it's actually a very easy problem. Anybody have an idea how we might start? What? Subtract 1. Absolutely, that's what I would do. I would subtract 1, but here's the tricky thing. When you subtract the 1, since this is a 3-part problem, left, middle, right, we have to subtract 1 from all the parts. It's a 3-part problem. It's not just 2 sides of an equation. It's got 3 pieces. So negative 5. In the middle now, all you have is 2x and 14. Right? And then what? Divide everything by 2. Now we gotta be careful. This is the way it comes out, right? But when we write our answer, we're gonna write it in an interval. So we'll have our negative 5 halves and our 7, and then what kind of notation will I use in my interval? one will be a parentheses. Oh, guys, come on. And that one will be a bracket. Number 6, this one, oh my gosh, I hope everyone gets right. How do we solve that? Okay, factoring would be an option. I'm not sure this one factors though. What do you think? Do you think it factors? No. So, quadratic formula. We need to know the quadratic formula. It will not be written on the exam or on the board or anything. So somebody refresh our memories. What is a quadratic formula? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so here we go. Negative b will be positive 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 4 times 1 times negative 5 all over 2. Now if it helps you, write down a is 1, b is negative 3, c is negative 5. If it helps you to write that down, go ahead and write it down so that you can plug them in. Okay, here we go. What's going to happen right here? This is going to become positive 20, so 29. And we're incredibly lucky because 29 does not break down, so we're finished. That's your answer. Seven, domain. How do we find domain?
Is this where you multiply by x minus 7?
No. There are 2 rules about domain. The denominator cannot equal 0, and whatever is under the radical has to be greater than or equal to 0. Those are our domain rules. Well, this problem doesn't have a radical, so I don't need to worry about that one. But the denominator cannot be 0, right? Which means x cannot be negative 7. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. Here's your number line. Here's every number in the whole wide world. Here's negative 7, and you can't be negative 7. So open dot, can't be negative 7. So what could you be? You could be all of this or all of this, right? So you could be every number from negative infinity to negative 7. You could be all of these numbers. Or you could be everything from negative 7 to infinity. Right? Part of this exam is multiple choice. Part of this exam is pre-calculus specific, like There are some questions on the exam that are on the academic exam, the CP exam, and the AP exam, okay? You have to make sure you are answering the multiple choice. So you have to make sure you understand that when you work the problem, you might write that down, and that is the correct answer. But it might show up in the answers, multiple choice, A, B, C, D, it might show up like this. These two things mean the same thing. Does that make sense to you? So you have to match the answer. This probably won't be an answer, because that isn't normal to calculus way of writing it. This would be the answer to that question. Okay. All right, number 8. What do we do with number 8?
X minus 2.
Exactly. So, there is, I hope, there is no one in the room who is at all confused if I said find f of 1. Everybody would put a 1 in here and a 1 in here, correct? That's how we do that. So they say find f of x minus 2. Kids, it's no different. It's exactly the same thing. So we're going to put x minus 2 right here. So where it says x, I'm putting x minus 2. Where it says x, I'm putting x minus 2. So that would be step 1. When you evaluate a function, you take out the x and plug in whatever they tell you to plug in. So in this case, it's x minus 2. So now I'm going to FOIL this. And let's see, these combined. And finally distribute. I am not done. I've done the first part, so I'll stop right there for a second, let you catch up and fix my attendance for the umpteenth time. All right, everybody good so far? We're not done yet. We're not done. I've just done this part. So that's a FOIL. I FOILed, and then I had to distribute the 2. Is that okay? Everybody with me? I still have to do the plus 7x minus 14 plus 1. So this is a distribute. And then my final answer. It looks like I have 2x squared. Minus x. And minus 5. How does that look for my final answer? Okay, 9 is actually very, very similar. What does this mean? When you see that right there, that's the problem. What does that mean I'm supposed to do? Take G and plug it into F. So like just here, you took x minus 2 and plugged it into F. Well, now we're taking function G and plugging it into F. So here's F, and here's G. We are plugging G into F. So we are plugging x plus 5 into F. So aren't we really doing what we just did? So we're gonna have x plus 5 squared, I'm plugging this in right here, minus 2x plus 5 plus 3. So function g is going into
Pardon the interruption.
F.
At this time, all seniors should report to the Welsh Activity Center. All seniors, please report to the Welsh Activity Center.
If you have stuff that you want to leave here, that is fine. Just get it organized and set it off to the side. Don't forget to come back and get it.